I want you to picture this. Let's say you have a fair credit and you have low income, all right? And you're trying to get a bank loan, you're trying to get a loan from a big traditional bank. How do you do that? That's actually the topic of today's conversation. How do you get a large loan that you deserve and need regardless?
One in a million, one in a million, one in a million. You know they're coming up to me, cause I'm just the kind of flower that's stinging in the beat, but the rhythm's getting higher. Go, 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 go. One in a million, one in a million, one in a million, one in a million, one in a million.
Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk to you about bank loan for fair credit and low income. How do you get the large loan you deserve and need regardless? So I'm going to give you the steps, okay? We have the step-by-step things you have to do so that you can gradually actually clinch the loan that you need, okay? The first thing is you want to find out lenders. There are some lenders that actually cater to folks with fair credit and low income. Not everybody though, but some lenders do, okay? So, hello, anybody home? I want you to pay attention now. Boss, hello, I want you to pay attention. So, the first lender that will help you out is PNC. PNC is friendly to folks who have fair credit and low income. Not a problem, okay? So when we talk about a PNC loan, we're speaking about a loan that goes from 1,000 to 35 grand, okay? And it's a great loan. You can use the loan for a lot of stuff. They don't have restrictions on you, okay? This is kind of cool. And because the thing is that some banks, they want to place some restrictions on your ass when it comes to actually getting a loan from them because they want to see how you're going to use the money, all that kind of stuff. No. PNC allows you to get the cash you need and use it. You also have another good player. You have US Bank. US Bank is also actually very friendly to folks who have fair credit and a low income. This is and low income overall. Okay, and the cool thing about US Bank is that they even have a soft pull. In other words, you don't risk a hard pull to get their loan. So this is kind of cool. Okay, and you can borrow from $1,000 to $50,000. Okay, if you're not a U.S. Bank customer, you may be able to borrow up to 25 grand. Okay, and the APR can go as low as 5.99%. And you have Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo also this is kind of cool. They have a soft pull also. So you have rates that are as low as 5.74% APR. What we love with the Wells Fargo is they are very generous when it comes to loan application. Can you believe they are giving you from $3,000 all the way to $100,000? You heard it right, 6 digits. And they even have a flexible terms from 12 to 84 months. So Wells Fargo is one of our favorites when it comes to bank loans for fair credit and low income. Okay, and the last one you have Truist. Truist is kind of cool too. They have a lot of processes in place to actually reach out to folks who have a low income and fair credit, okay? And you can actually borrow all the way to $50,000. And on top of that, Truist has an online division, which is called Livestream, okay? Livestream. And with Livestream, you can actually borrow from $3,500 all the way to $100,000. And rates, they range from 4.99% to 15.54%, 59% rather. Okay, so here you have it. So the first step is you need to seek out lenders that specifically cater to applicants with fair credit and low income. The second thing I want you to have, boss, I want you to think about employment. Oh yeah, this is important, okay? And let me ask you a question. Are you currently working? Do you have a full-time job or you have a part-time job? Are you a seasonal worker? Talk to me. I want you to tell me exactly how do you position yourself right now on the employment chain. I want a very specific answer. You know why? Because that's what the lender is going to ask you. That's what the lender is going to ask you. They're going to ask you to actually provide information because you need to prove that income. You need to prove that employment. Just sitting around and saying, "Hey, I have a job." Hey. No, you have a job, but you got to prove it. That's what it is. You got to prove. So there are a lot of things you can do. pay stubs, your most recent ones. I'm talking about within 30 days. Okay, don't you give me a pay stub of last year or 2 years ago. I want to see if you're working now. Now you have a 9 to 5 job now. Okay, you can show me a W-2. Yeah, that's kind of cool too. Okay, and if you are an independent contractor or if you are working several gigs, in other words, you are a 1099 employee, I want to see your 1099 from last year, for instance. Talk to me about that. Okay, I want to see an employment letter, and let's say a contract from all the gigs you're running right now. If you have customers, the lender will want to see some contracts, some kind of substantiation, some kind of proof that you indeed have a contract between them. Remember, you are talking about a bank loan here, and we know historically and traditionally banks are more conservative when it comes to providing loans than say alternative lenders or online lenders. Okay, so they're going to ask you a bunch of questions about proving that income, and boy, I want you to make sure that this is your income is legit in the first place. Okay, and you can also actually let's say you can claim other sources of income to get the bank loan that you need. Okay, even if you have fair credit. For example, you can if you have retirement benefits and income, this counts as income. Okay, you have alimony or spousal support or child support, this counts as income. If you have rental income, okay, if you have trust or pensions, or if you have disability benefits, those are important. So here is the approach for you. I want you to gather your paperwork. I want you to tally all your sources of income, so you have a clear idea of how much you are making every month and what are the different sources. Okay, I'm talking about paperwork. I'm talking about you creating something in Excel or through an app or whatnot, but you need to, or even on a piece of paper where you can track all your sources of income. I want to talk to you now about NPR. Oh yeah. You know, the thing is that people always say, well, a relationship with the bank, that's no big deal. I don't need that. I can actually just breeze through the whole process, the whole loan application process, and get the loan I want. No, boss. If somebody telling you this, I want you to tell them they're a fool. They're fooling you. They're just dazzling you with confusing words and inappropriate advice. You need an NPR. You need a relationship. You need a multi-product relationship. Whether you have it with a bank or a credit union, doesn't matter, but you need to have it. See, the thing is, if you have a fair credit and you have low income, this actually puts, quote unquote, more pressure on you to have a relationship with the bank from which you want to get the credit card or you want to get the loan. Okay, it's important because if if you apply with let's say you apply for a loan at the PNC and they've seen that you've been with them for 20 years or 10 years, even if you are pulling in a low amount of money every year, they've seen your ass for a long time, so they trust you. There is the element of trust here. This is important. So when we talk about NPR, multi-product relationship, we are thinking about the length of history that you have with the bank. How long have you been with them? 20 years, 10 years? You want to choose the bank where you are currently at, okay? This is what I just said earlier, that you want to actually start where you currently position yourself. And when we talk about NPR, we are speaking about having a variety of accounts: savings accounts, checking accounts, IRAs, CDs, certificate of deposits, MMAs, money market accounts, and whatnot. So you have it there. So we are talking about not just having one account, but 2 or 3 or 4. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to park hundreds or thousands of dollars in those accounts. The whole thing is that you want to have as many accounts as possible so that the bank thinks that they have a strong relationship with you. See, if you already are invested in so many accounts with them, they are invested too, and they will want to keep your business. And if you want to get a loan, a bank loan for fair credit and low income, go to a branch. I want you to bring your ass to a branch. Okay, don't you apply online. You are reducing your chances of approval. You want to go to a branch. You want to have a conversation with the rep, and you want to give context to your application. You want to provide all the paperwork needed before you actually apply. And please set direct deposit with the bank so they can see money coming in also. Okay, so big decision time. Do you currently have an MPR with any bank at all? Okay, and how strong is that relationship? Those are questions you need to answer, and based on the answer, you will know where to apply. Okay, Chief, I want to talk to you about extra income. The thing is that we all been there. We all have seen that, been there. You basically apply for a bank loan. Let's say you have fair credit, you have low income, and what a bummer. You're disappointed. You are rejected. They don't even. They just send you those generic letters that says, hey, we have been we have reviewed your credit card application or your loan application in depth, and we regret to inform you that your ass has been rejected. What a bummer. But hey, listen, we're gonna move from that bummer, and we're gonna have a strategy that is partially that has to relate to actually having extra income. My point is that if you have extra income, first of all, your income is already low, okay? But we're not going to stay in the basement of income here. What I'm trying to say is, don't take pride in having low income. This is not a place to have. This is not something to be proud of. It is a situation, and we all been there, done that, where you actually find yourself scraping by. Having a hard time making ends meet. All right, I got you. But the thing is, what are your strategies to acquire extra income, to get extra income, to make more money? You can do a lot of things. You have a lot of profitable ideas to make extra money on the side, and those are not complicated. And sometimes you don't even have to walk out of the house. You can stay in your house and be comfortable, be comfortable in your living room and actually make money. You can sell items on eBay, Craigslist, or Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. And you don't need a whole store operation to run that. This ain't like this ain't like Amazon where you have to actually have a store and run the store as a business. If you're not inclined, if you're not into that kind of stuff, you can actually sell things on platforms without actually having a big operation. You can recycle used smartphones. You can drive for Uber or Lyft. You can deliver for Uber Eats. Yeah. You can rent your space, room on Airbnb. Why not? You can manage social media for small businesses. You can sell services on Fiverr. Oh yeah. You can tutor over Skype. Yeah. People do that, making a lot of money from that. You can start a blog. You can create an online course. You can walk dogs. I'm just giving you ideas here. You can babysit or become a nanny. You can clean houses. Okay. You can have a garage sales. You can sell technical services on Upwork. You can design logos on 99 Designs. You can sell products on Etsy. Okay. You can wash and detail cars. You can become a freelance article writer. You can become a house sitter. There are so many opportunities, boss. So many opportunities to actually generate extra income. So here are my pro tips. You want to identify what you're good at. You want to actually have some free time, and you want to see how you can actually start making money from what you are good at. Okay, and let's say if you can do it from your house, that's even better. In other words, if you can do things online, that's even better. I want to talk to you now, boss, about your FICO score. Oh yeah. I mean, your FICO score is what it is. You are a 670. Okay. Well, all you have to do is accept the situation and start working on it. Don't accept it though. Don't accept it in terms of, oh, listen, I'm at 670 or I'm a 650 or I'm a 600. I'm cool. I'm comfortable. No. It is a situation. You just hear, you just understand it, and you think about the next plan. Okay, you want to improve your FICO score, boss. Okay, is anybody here? I don't hear you guys. Are you listening to me? I'm very serious here. You need to actually improve your FICO score. Yeah, if you want to get a bank loan for fair credit and low income, you can apply. But if you get denied the first time, you need to work on your FICO score. Don't you think I'm going bonkers here? No, I'm realistic. Okay, you can get a bank loan for fair credit and low income. Yes, you can. However, you want to continually monitor your FICO score. You want to continually build up your credit score, okay? And the thing is that, hey, listen, here are the criteria. When we talk about fair credit, we're speaking about a FICO score that is between 580 to 669. Your credit is poor if you are between 300 and 579. You are good if you have 670 to 739. You are very good if you have 740 to 799, okay? And if you have excellent credit, like most of folks on our team, you have a FICO score between 800 and 850, okay? And the thing you need to understand is that when we talk about fair credit loans, we are speaking about loans that have APRs in the double digits. You're not going to get an APR at 8% or 9% on a personal loan if you have fair credit. Not at all. No. But hey, listen, it's not a problem because you want to actually get the loan so that you can build your credit, your history, okay? And if you want to improve your credit score, there are a few things you need to do. You need to cut down on your current debts because remember, credit utilization makes up 30% of your credit score. So lowering your current debts, such as credit card or personal loans, can help increase your score. You want to pay your bills on time, okay? Your payment history accounts for 35% of your credit score. So you want to be sure to stay on top of paying your bills by the due dates to raise your credit score. You want to consider consolidating your debts, okay? You want to check your credit reports for discrepancies. You never know. So this is really important. So big decision time, boss. Big decision time. What is your FICO right now? And have you taken steps to actually check your FICO to ascertain, to make sure this is the right number and to also have a plan to increase it? This is important. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We're also having a conversation about bank loan for fair credit and low income. And how do you actually get the loan that you need? Well, you need to study the requirements of the loan, okay? And you really need to study this religiously. You need to have a clear idea, a granular idea about what you need to do to qualify for the loan, okay? And the thing is that and see, the beauty of this is that when you actually do your research, when you go to the website, when you call customer service, or when you go to the branch, you are psyched up. You are mentally ready. You are mentally ready, okay? Because you know, hey, listen, I've done everything that is needed, that I need to do. And hey, listen, if I'm approved, good. If I'm denied, so be it. So you want to avoid applying for new credit around the time you apply for a bank loan for fair credit and low income, because you don't want to have too many hard pulls on your credit, okay? You want to pre-qualify for loans if possible. That way you know through a soft credit pool whether or not you could qualify for a loan. You can add a co-signer, for instance, okay? Using a co-signer to get a personal loan can help your chances of getting approved, especially if your co-signer has a good or stellar credit score, okay? Or consider a credit union. We all know that credit unions such as Navy Fed and Penn Fed typically have fewer fees and rates than other types of lenders like banks and online lenders, okay? So this thing is you need to think about. Like if I give you an example, Penn Fed doesn't charge borrowers origination fees. Yeah, a type of fees typically associated with personal loans. So this is kind of cool, and Navy Fed doesn't either, okay? So if you want to compare loans for fair credit, you want to think about pre-qualification, APR, origination fees, term, prepayment penalty, other fees, time to funding, okay? Co-borrowers and co-signers, if there are some restrictions, whether you can apply online or in person, okay? So here is your decision. After analyzing all the lenders that you are interested in, I want you to actually take a piece of paper and write down the criteria that are important for you. And your decision is to actually call them up to confirm those criteria before making a final decision. Very, very important. Okay. You can go to a branch or you can call them up. It's your call, but you got to have a clear idea of their criteria. I want to talk to you now about cosigner. Boss, if you want to improve your chances of getting the bank loan that you need, and you have a fair credit and low income, you might want to consider a cosigner. Okay. And you want to have someone who is very sharp with numbers. I'm talking about financial numbers. You want to have someone who is good, who is better than you, who has a higher FICO score. Okay, this is important. And when we talk about a cosigner, I mean, a cosigner is a secondary person who agrees to pay back a loan in case you, the primary borrower, defaults. In other words, you don't pay the loan back. So when you cosign a loan, the loan is recorded on both your credit reports and on the main borrower's credit report. Okay, as long as the primary borrower makes on-time payments, the secondary borrower will get the benefits of those marks too. However, if the borrower misses a payment or just stops paying on the loan entirely, you, the co-signer, will be on the hook for the loan. And if you fail to pay up, the lender can actually take you to court for the money. So there are consequences. Okay, and a co-signer might make sense if you have bad or fair credit, you don't have much income, and you are young, and you have to have credit in your name, really. Okay, so one thing I want to make sure that you have is, before you choose a cosigner, make sure there is trust between you and the cosigner. The cosigner needs to have a good credit score, and the cosigner needs to be able to pay the loan on his or her own. Remember, if you, the primary borrower, defaults on the loan, a cosigner should be able to comfortably afford the payments on his or her own. So this is important, okay? And when we talk about cosigner, there is actually a slight distinction between co-borrower and cosigner. So a cosigner is someone who agrees to be a backup for the loan payments. A co-borrower, on the other hand, is someone who's equally liable for each payment, okay, before it's past due, and who typically ensures ownership rights for whatever the loan was for in the first place, okay? And so if you want to find a good cosigner, I want you to look around in your inner circle, in your entourage, your family, your friends, okay? I mean, preferably family, okay? And when we talk about cosigner, there are some cosigner alternatives. You can actually shop around and apply for fair credit loans at online lenders, not at banks, but online lenders. You can use collateral. You can ask friends and family, for example. You can go to a credit union. I've spoken to you earlier about Navy Fed, but there are other local credit unions that you might consider. So here are some few pro tips. To find a cosigner, make sure that you speak first to people in your direct entourage, your spouse, a relative, your father, your mother, okay? And then you move on to your friends. And then if you have a tight relationship with your colleagues, ask them too. So once you find a cosigner, explain to them. I'm talking about explaining really. What are the pros and cons of co-signing a loan, so they have a clear idea of the risks and rewards, because they have rewards too, because their credit score might go up if you actually pay up comfortably. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was talking to you about the bank loan for fair credit and low income, how to get the large loan you deserve and need, regardless. So you want to consider the right lenders. You want to beef up your employment. You want to beef up your MPR, your multi-product relationship. You want to seek extra income. You want to pay attention to your FICO score and improve it. You want to really understand the requirements of the bank loan that you are seeking, and think about adding a cosigner if possible. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.